Hey guys, it's TFNet. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This is going to be of the Medicom Toy MAFEX Batman Hush version of Nightwing. My first MAFEX review on the channel. I don't get very many of these figures. I don't think this is a bad line. It's just that all of these figures coming out, while from what I've seen, they are fantastic, are pretty expensive every release to where I just have to skip on a lot of them because I'm already getting a lot of stuff anyway. I've seen a lot of good things about this particular Nightwing where people saying this is the 6-inch Nightwing to own in your collection. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at it. Maybe I'll jump in and just cherry pick a few every now and then. This one looks really good. Got it from HobbyLink Japan though. As you can see here, top half of the packaging, really nice window box here. You get to see the figure in the box. It's kind of hard to see, but the backdrop there is the cover of Hush there, where it has Batman and Hush, like half image there. On the side it does say Batman Hush. We also have an image of the figure right there. It does say Nightwing Batman Hush version, MAFEX, DC, as well as Medicom Toy. It also has the word action figure right there. Didn't even know why I needed to mention that. But also, right here on the side, Batman Hush, image of the figure from the back. There's the sticker right there for Medicom Toy. Looks like a barcode almost. Interesting. Another image on the side here. It says Batman Hush DC, Nightwing, and Hush version. Looking a little closer, you could see how that figure looks full body right there. On the top, again, Batman Hush, an image of one of the face, just the head sculpt, I should say. There's just two. On the bottom here, ages 15 and up, choking hazard and all that. We look on the back here, you can see a bunch of different posing going on here with this particular figure. A lot of different accessories involved right there. Looking really good. Let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. Okay, right out of the packaging, do I get the hype for MAFEX? I kind of do. I'm not gonna lie. This is a really awesome figure. The more I mess around with this, the more fun I'm having. It poses like a dream. I've had so much fun posing this around. I've had a lot of figures that are very posable. This is some of the most fun I've had in a long time with posing a figure. Some imperfections, you can kind of already see some stuff going on right now. This is a $96 figure, so some of the imperfections here I just don't think are super acceptable. The positives, though, outweigh the negatives. Let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories, then we'll take a closer look at the figure. Here's an image of all the accessories this figure comes with, not including the base stuff. We'll talk about that a little later. I'm going to try my best not to spend like 20 minutes on these accessories. I've been going way over on these reviews lately. Here is the alternate head sculpt. This is a more gritting teeth expression. Okay, I feel like there is a scratch on the nose, and there's some skin tone on the teeth. Yeah, not a fan of that, unfortunately. I'm going to be a tiny bit more critical on stuff like this with how expensive this was from the retailer. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of... What the heck, man? What? Anyway, we do have some scuffing a little bit on the ear there, too. A little bit of black on the skin. So, that was my problem when I just really quick with seeing some MAFEX figures. Like, MAFEX figures look fantastic, but sometimes almost every single one I see, at least a few people have some kind of QC issue that could have been prevented. So that's why I'm a little bit more critical of this company. The good things about this, though, the hair sculpt here, man, that is really good looking. I really love the different, like, lighter grayish blue and black being mixed in there. The overall sculpt of the hair is good. The actual mask protruding there, really good. Again, I think there's like a scuff on the nose and, again, the teeth, while they're sculpting nicely. The paint, ugh, come on, man. That's what that looks like. It's a little ugly, but that's gonna be covered, so it's whatever. We do have this back piece here too, and just with me barely posing it around, I placed one of these in here, and I was being pretty careful, and this one popped out. Pretty sure it's not supposed to. Now I can glue this back in there, but like, man, I'm trying. I swear to God, guys, I'm not trying to sabotage this review, seriously, but yeah, that's a little unfortunate this popped out. This is not popped out yet, though, this left one. But this looks pretty identical to the back that this figure comes packaged with. Lots of muscles, and then you have these pieces here. Since that's going to keep falling out, I'm going to show off how this baton will fit in here. You just kind of stick it in like so. And I have a feeling eventually the more you do this, you know, with the silver on the black, the more the silver is going to get scuffed. So just be wary of that. I'm not entirely sure if that is confirmed yet. Speaking of these batons, you know, I just had 2 of them. Here we go. 2 of these batons, they're just in this very basic sculpt, these billy clubs here, and they are in a silver metallic paint. They look really, really awesome. Let's move on to the hands, because we do have, I should have talked about the bendy wire accessory, but I'll do that in a second. These are these like translucent billy club effects where he's twirling them, so he has 2 on each side. That's really sick. All the hands come with these protective wrist pegs, so that way it can prevent shrinking in the wrist sockets. Excuse me. Everywhere you see blue and black separated, there is actual sculpting in there too. The blue is really nicely painted. I think on this left hand, it's a little bit of black bleeding through, but the actual sculpt on the back of the hands looking really nice. I wish these were a little bit silver, but I know what they're going for. You know, these are, you know, moving around in the wind, so yeah, I can see why it's a little bit more translucent. These also do peg out. They pop out a little too easily, but they'll pop back in just as easily. I may not be able to do it on camera right now, but just be careful. There's a chance that if someone tugs it the wrong way, it could end up separating. But that's what it looks like with it out like that. So that is really sick. We also have these more relaxed hands here. There's not much else to talk about. They also come with this piece right here that's going to protect the inner sockets, I guess. The way that these are relaxed, the way the black comes through on here, well, that's really good. The blue too, it's like a slightly glossy blue. So digging that. We also have these more flat hands, as if he's going to toss it. Not much to talk about here. You know, the palms, you can see the inside of the palms there. Actually looking really sick. These are the baton holding hands. You see that there is a circle grip like that. A little bit of a black splotch there. That's a little unfortunate. But simply, I would not leave these in this either, in case there's any kind of potential paint rubbing too. But you just insert it like that, and it goes in rather nicely. Last, but certainly not least, these more posed hands. These also could be throwing hands as well, but kind of posing if he's getting ready to fight too. These look really good. They are all in a pretty soft plastic, so if you push it down a little too hard, you may eventually like tear something, but they're pliable enough to where you can mess around it a little bit. There's gonna be no problems there. Last but not least, on the actual accessories, this also popped out too, so I basically have a third billy club. But this here is the bendy wire accessory of the billy clubs here. This would be great for a Daredevil too. I barely tugged on this and it came out, so that's unfortunate. I'm going to have to see if I can get a replacement with how much the quality control problems are on this thing. But essentially, you know, this is supposed to stay in there, and this stays in there pretty easily. But I have not measured out how this long this bendy wire is, but it moves around rather nicely, so there's that. One last thing I do want to talk about is the stand. There's a bunch of attachments for the stand here. It's actually a pretty basic stand that we've gotten a pretty decent number of times with MAFEX figures. I think ever since like the beginning, honestly, the way that it is designed. But we do have a C or almost really circle grip attachment at the top, and it's all, you know, the pretty much 3 different hinges for the adjustable neck, of course. We also do have this more, it's a C grip as well, but there's a cradle underneath, so it can rest on, the figure can rest there too. You also see that there's, you know, 3 different sections, 3 different ports, so you can port different parts, and you have another attachment piece right there. So yeah, not entirely sure what is going on with all this stuff here, but it's nice that we have a lot of attachments. Taking a look at the actual figure, as you can see, this head sculpt is done very similarly to the alternate head I showed off with the protruding mask there, the white eyes, all that comes through really nice. The blue just not mixing with the skin tone, so that's good. Really nice chin sculpted there. Pretty nice sculpting of the nose and mouth as well. There's even some creases around like the eyebrows and all that you can see there, so that's really good. Looking at the ears, there's not that much paint defects here. It looks like a little bit of skin bleeding onto the sideburns, but onto the back there, but not too bad. You can see how the hair there, you know, you have a little bit of, again, like grayish, bluish, and blackish going on in there. I'm not exactly sure what all colors are mixed in there, but that head sculpt is really good. Looking at the chest here, I'm really digging the separation of the blue and the black here. this light blue here, you know, everything is, you know, there's actual like indents sculpted there so you can feel the separation. And you can make this line up pretty well. You can actually cover that if you move it forward a little bit. But once you move it around like that, it will break up a little bit. They did think ahead, and they kind of continued, you know, this, that's how it's supposed to look, and they kind of made it continue like that to, you know, if you look at it from the side, it looks like the actual suit is stretching with it. But facing forward, it's a little just slightly off. But it's really not that big of a complaint. Just something I wanted to mention. You know, the muscles in the neck too, and on the chest, all that looks really good. Really, again, there's no paint splotches on the front here so far. It's when you get to the back. This, some of you may not believe me. This figure was shipped like this with how this looks. It's as if this fell on the ground, like somebody scuffed this on the carpet, and then there was carpet burn on this. I've done that on accident to a couple other figures, so that is ugly. I don't want to have to repaint that. So we have this here. There's a little bit of blue here, which that's really not that big of a deal, but fixing that, I think there's actual black paint there. And then I don't want, if I use like acetone, I don't want to get it on this either. So that's going to be hard to remove. And then I think that's about it. But then, like I mentioned, there's a lot of paint defects on this one. $96 after shipping. I think that was HobbyLink Japan. I think it's going to be like that with pretty much anywhere. It's like $110 on Big Bad Toy Store. And yeah, that's not great. I know I sound a little harsh, but I'm harsh on it with Marvel Legends. I've been harsh on it with some of the paint defects I've had in a couple of SH Figuarts lately. I'm going to be harsh on it here, especially with an almost $100 figure. Shouldn't be happening. I know I'm rambling a little bit, but that's that. I'm just going to leave it there. What I do want to mention is different parts of the suit have appropriate details, like, you know, they have the chest and stomach here with the nice ribs and abs sculpted in there, but then you get to like the arms, which have, you know, really nice muscles, but stretching in the suit. All that looks fantastic, like a skin tight suit almost. And well, not almost, of course. Again, separation of blue and black there, a little bit of blue bleeding onto the black. You're not going to notice too much. Stuff like this, where there's a tiny bit of black cracking through the muscles, is not that big of a deal to me, I will say. And of course, the wrist is going to be broken up a little bit. You know, it's going to break up the black a little. Sorry, the black is going to break up the blue. But again, that's expected because you need this wrist to move around. So I'm not hating on that. These pieces here, you know, for a second, I thought this was supposed to be articulated the way that they have separated, like, the ridge here. But it does not articulate, and I'm fine with it, though. Looking again, a lot of nice line work. You can see how that is, you know, sculpted with that line in there where the blue and the black meet. All right. Damn, he did not skip squats day, bro.
What you doing out here with all this ass? Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon, hella ass, the sun is still out.
This is one of the most, I could be wrong, but one of the most caked up action figures I've owned. All right, I'm going to move on from that out of pocket section. Nice stretching, though, and some wrinkles in the hips, though, for the outfit. I am digging that. One thing you'll notice about this figure is that there's just, like, all of this. There's definitely paint on this figure. The black is painted on here. It's one solid black. I've seen people shade over it, a little bit of blue, and that looks beautiful, but I don't mind that it's all just one, you know, slightly glossy and slightly matte black tone here. The muscles in the thighs, all that looks really good. And, man, that upper thigh is a little hindered, unfortunately. Can I move better? We'll talk about the articulation in a second, but that's almost like the Ronin level. Uh-oh. Anyway, though, you do get, like, details on the inner thigh. And then you get down to the knees, and you can see some wrinkling going on there. The knee detail actually looks really nice. It's very consistent until you bend it. There is some gappage from the articulation that happens with a lot of figures. When you move it back, it's a little bit hard to push back into place. That's something I wanted to mention. Another separation, kind of like up here, is at the boot, and I thought this was supposed to rotate, but I don't mind that it doesn't rotate. You can see it's slightly glossier here compared to this, which is a nice touch, and you get that range of motion here, which again, we'll talk about that. This piece here is trying to cover that joint piece. I don't think I would have minded if they just took it off, because I mean the inside here, you can still see that, so that's a little useless. But I'm not going to hate on that too much. That's what the top of the feet look like there. Really nice. Bottom of the feet, amazing treading. That looks really fantastic. So besides the minor paint app issues, which actually some of these are not minor, some of these are very, very poor. I didn't mention the back muscles are pretty good too. But other than some of that paint imperfection, really nicely detailed and sculpted. So if you're unfamiliar with MAFEX figures, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you are, there is absolutely fantastic articulation. There is nothing to complain about here. We do have a dumbbell joint that is slightly bent, I think, to help it, if you need to move it up a little bit, it will help with that. But, there's also this section right here going into the torso, so it allows, there's gappage, of course, but side to side rotation, you can grab the neck too, and you can rotate that will pop off just a little too easily if you push it hard enough. And then up and down, fantastic range of motion. Butterfly joint actually works really well and actually is flowing really naturally, besides just the separation of the blue and the black there, but that works really well. Can go in and out just a little bit. You can drop down a little bit in the shoulders, goes all the way out like that. Upper arm swivel, I feel like mine's a little wobbly, but not too bad. Double jointed elbows, bends perfectly. This is imports wrist articulation I'm having trouble with, where it's two separate rotations, and this peg right here is actually really tight on mine, but you can also swivel that, and then you can swivel this part right there. So there's that. We do have ball jointed waist here, which it kind of breaks up a little bit when you, of course it's going to, but even like kind of sitting there, I think there's a tiny bit of gappage, but it moves back like that, and there's two separate sections, so it moves back all the way, and then you have to push that forward. Forward's pretty good. The tilt side to side, and then the rotation, of course, all of that moves really, really well. I think this is actually soft. It could be a soft plastic piece. Yeah, it's a little bit softer. I don't know. Legs kick out all that much, and then the butt, man, he's too caked up. He can't kick back that much. I think we do have a little bit of a drop down system here, and then because of that, you do get a little bit of a split. Not perfect, but close enough. A little bit of thigh swivel in here. I don't know. It should be. I feel like it should be better. Double jointed knees. I talked about it gets a little sticky at some points. Ankle rotation there, down all the way. That is sick. Up really nice. Ankle rocker, toe hinge. The box lists this figure at around 155 millimeters, so that's going to be just under 16 and a half centimeters. Doing that into inches, that is going to be around or just under like 6¼ inches tall. As you can see, a bunch of different size comparisons here. On each side, we have some SH Figure Arts figures, some of my top figures of the year. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Chainsaw Man. They're not in 1/12 scale, so they're going to be shorter than a 1/12 scale Nightwing here. Far left, while I don't have the MAFEX Hush Batman, I do have the McFarlane Toys one. You can see that 7-inch scale figure is going to be much taller. I do have this 6-inch 1/12 collective Sovereign Knight Batman, which is my more high-end Batman I have, at least right now. That actually fits pretty well, I think, in scale. Maybe just a little too tall compared to Nightwing. Overall, I am pretty impressed with this figure. I think Medicom Toys did a pretty great job. I understand the hype for this figure as well as MAFEX in general. It's just that with my particular figure, the QC issues are a little too abundant to ignore. So I'm not loving it 100%. I'm at like maybe 85%. The scratches on the back should not have been there out of the packaging. Some people might call me a liar, but I mean, it's neither here or there. That's how it was shipped to me. Anyway, also, I did want to mention the Billy Club accessory with the bendy wire, one of those popping out way too easily. That's kind of annoying, as well as the clip accessory on the alternate back. Again, with the Billy Club going in there, popping out too easily. That is also annoying. QC, mostly paint problems with the alternate head. Should not be there. Other than that, everything else about this is fantastic. I do think what paint isn't splotched here, which isn't a lot, is really fantastic. The overall sculpting and molding going on here, really great. Articulation is top notch. I absolutely love posing this thing around. This thing keeps a pose where once you move it, it moves really smoothly to where you want, and then it just locks in. And that is such great quality for this figure. The alternate hands, you need pretty much everything here. All these hands are fantastic. I do think the Billy Clubs came out pretty well too. The stand could be a little bit better, but overall I am having a blast with this figure. I do need to contact the company to see if I can get something addressed with these QC issues though, because I really should not be having any of them here. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.